All right, welcome in. It is week 6 of the college football season. The government, the U.S. government may be shut down, but guess what? The Merrifield Sportsbook never shuts down. We are here for another weekend preview. It is, of course, Jade Coster, Justin Walsh, Matt Merrifield, myself, Nick Burt. What a time to be alive it is. Jade Coster, go to you first. Just how are you feeling as we go into this week 6, which has a board that is kind of disgusting?
It's pretty ass. I mean, I feel like that this weekend's like obviously I'll watch college football, but it's all our teams are in the post. Well, I'm sorry. Well, Matt's actually cheering for the Cubs, so he's a Cubs fan. So our teams are in the postseason. So hopefully we all get it done tomorrow. We will see. I'm kind of nervous, but I think we can get it done. So yeah, it's exciting times. We will see.
Jay, how can all of us get it done if one of us is going to be eliminated tomorrow?
Yeah, that's
Two of
true.
our teams do happen to be playing each other.
I'm just hoping you guys have fun, and meanwhile,
We will not. Don't worry.
All I know is that the only person in this chat that has not lost a playoff game this week is my team. I just want to throw that out there. The Tampa Bay Rays are undefeated this week. Did we make the playoffs? No. Did we finish 500? Also no. Do we have the best 21-year-old, 22-year-old now baseball player in the league in Junior Caminero? Yes. He hit 45 home runs this year. He's the same age as me. I can't hit 45 home runs. Most people can't hit 45 home runs. Anyways, I'll shut up now.
Justin Walsh, how are you feeling tonight?
We're feeling good. I'm not aware of any other baseball games that may have transpired earlier today. So we're just we're ready to get into this slate. You said that the slate was not great. I do agree. However, as I said, you show there are a couple picks that I absolutely love, but there are a lot of picks that I want no part of. So this is definitely an interesting one.
And Matt, we'll go to you. We are recording this a half hour late because you were stuck in a college football game where your opponent would not quit, even though they were down by 28 at points in the third quarter. How are you this evening?
I mean, I'm great. For those of you that do play college football, 26 RPO, tight end flat, preferably the read option one. Greatest play in the game. It's an automatic first down every play. If you have a mobile quarterback, it's an automatic 15 yards every play. Just saying, Jay's been exposed by it before. He will be exposed by it. I don't know what week we played this year in year 2 of our dynasty, Jay. Back to the board. Does it suck? Yes. Is this a perfect weekend to take your significant other to an apple orchard or something? Probably not, because it's probably going to be 80 degrees again in Michigan. I haven't looked at the weather. But I think
Yes.
betting, I think this weekend rocks. I love this slate because there's so many bad games. There's not a lot of games to begin with, so there's no overthinking involved. You just have to pick what's given to you. And I love what's been given to me. I'll probably go under 500, but that's fine. I love it. Let's get right to it.
Like you said, let's get right to it. Let's take a look back at last week, where we were right, where we were wrong. Jay DeCoster, will go to you first here. Let's take a look back.
Yeah, a solid 3-2 week. I kind of pissed at A&M because they won 16-10, so that kind of sucked. Did not cover, but Arizona State. I was telling Matt before you got in here, I fell asleep for that entire fourth quarter. I did not get to see Arizona State actually hit the lock. So yeah, the lock hit, which was nice, and then North Texas barely squeaked away, so that was also nice. Where I was wrong was, Georgia is yikes. That was not good. Kirby Smart deciding to go for it when you're down 3. In Alabama's like 14-yard line. Like, dude, what are you doing? Just kick the field goal. Just overthinking at its finest. So that was bad. So other than that, it was a solid week.
Justin Walsh, where were you right and where were you wrong for week 5 of the college football season?
In terms of where I was right, I could go with Jay here and go with Arizona State. I also had them -2.5 on the parlay. Shout out Mike Merrifield. But instead, I'm going to go to what I texted you guys was the most predictable ass beating I think I've ever seen, which was Notre Dame over Arkansas. It's the game that got Sam Pittman finally fired from Arkansas. This was a very easy pick in my mind. As I said last week, Notre Dame really has no room for error left. They need to win, and they need to win convincingly. -4.5 was easy pickings against a very mediocre Arkansas team. So that was definitely where I was right. In terms of where I was wrong, I'll throw a bone here to Matt. He hates when I make these picks. Missouri -44.5. Didn't quite get the job done. There's not a lot I can say here. I thought they were going to run it up on a really, really bad UMass team, and they did a little bit, but just didn't quite get all the way there. So that's where I was wrong. We'll move on to Mr. Merrifield here.
I mean, where I was right, listening to my father, to all of you out there, listen to your dad. He knows what he's talking about sometimes. But in this instance, he was correct again. Will he be correct again this week? We have 2 more opportunities. But even then, shout out Lane Kiffin. I know that still applies to the Mike Merrifield rule. And North Texas, baby. Shout out the Mean Green. Love them. Almost didn't cover, but they did. Great job by the Mean Green to get it done. So it was a good week. In terms of where I was wrong, I'm going to use this opportunity. For those that don't know, we're recording on Wednesday. Thursday is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. I'm going to wash myself of the bad picks I had this week, refresh myself into the new year, and just be a better sports bettor for it this weekend. I have to wash myself of walking into the buzzsaw that was Cincinnati Bearcats football. I'm staying away from them this weekend. Just staying away. Kansas, I might be done betting Kansas for the year. Truly, I might be washing myself of that. And I'm not upset that I got this one wrong, but Washington died. Now, the officiating in that game was horrible. And Ohio State's front seven is for real. Caden Curry, is that the name of their left end, defensive end? That guy is unreal. I want him to be a Colt. He probably won't be whenever he comes out because the Colts will be picking too high. Thank you, Daniel Jones. But that guy rocks. I don't see how Michigan's going to be able to score a single point. I know we've probably said that the last 2 years between Michigan and Ohio State. I truly don't see how Michigan's going to be able to move the football this season. I truly don't. And I could be regretting that in 2 months from now. But still, Ohio State's front seven is unreal. Whether their offense is that good or not, didn't look great. Didn't look great against Texas, who might not be good anymore. But Ohio State's defense is for real. Shout out Matt Patricia. Nick, where were you right? Where were you wrong?
Where I was right, the Oregon Ducks money line. I gave the money line last week. I didn't even take the +2.5. Took the money line, won outright. What a game. I mean, they almost lost it in the end, but James Franklin is still James Franklin. Dante Moore, future Brown. That's kind of scary to think about because the Browns are just going to ruin him. But it is what it is. It's a new day. I love Oregon. Great win. Where I was wrong, Stanford. San Jose State should have won that game. That was a disaster. Absolute disaster. I was very much wrong there. I got nothing else other than that. I'm sure I was wrong in other places that UConn. I was wrong about UConn. I think they only won by 3 and the number was 3.5. That was a real shame. Ask me if I watched a second of that game. The answer would be no. Jay Walsh, you have a question?
Before we move on to week 6, I do just want to ask, in case anyone's keeping track, do we know how many times Nick has featured UConn in his Where I Was Wrong last week? Because I feel like this is multiple at this point.
I can do some research. I'll look into it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I picked them 3 or 4 times this year, and we're only 5 weeks in, and I've been wrong every single time. So that's a real possibility.
We can move on. I'll keep counting, but
Sounds good. Let's move on. We're previewing one game this week because, like we said, the board is not filled with greatness. There will be some greatness after we preview this game because we have some incredible segments coming. Let's talk about Miami. The Hurricanes travel up to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Miami is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. Jay Walsh, we'll go to you here. Florida State coming off a loss to Virginia last week. Clearly a loss that was so bad that they had to take College Game Day away from this game and send them to Tuscaloosa because why not? Florida State really needs to bounce back in this one, or else it kind of feels like their chase Clemson has fallen off, but their chase for the ACC gets that much harder if they lose this game.
For sure. This does kind of feel like a classic bounce back spot for Florida State here. They're going up. They've got the game at home against a Miami team that I really am not a huge fan of. I mean, I've been very public about my non-belief in Carson Beck as a quarterback. I think overall the Miami roster is pretty solid, but I think this Florida State roster is pretty solid as well. So I would be inclined to take Florida State plus 4.5 here. And obviously it fits in the Mike Merrifield rule as well. So I feel that much better about it, right? Doesn't it? Isn't it lower?
they're not favored. Miami's favored.
That's
over
true. They're not favored. That's right. But whatever. I still like Florida State here. Plus 4.5. In terms of the over under 53.5, I feel like that's a pretty accurate number. I would say realistically, I'd probably go under here. But I mean, like I said, I would stay away from that number, but I do like Florida State plus the 4.5.
Matt, we'll go to you next. As Jay Walsh said, this kind of feels like a classic bounce back spot for Florida State. But I mean, what we saw last week against Virginia, that just looked like almost kind of shades of last year's Florida State team, a team that was kind of inept and didn't know what they were doing on a football field.
Yeah, I mean, in Florida State's case, they came out in week one. They obviously picked up what is a very good win in Alabama. And as I kind of brought up, I think last week when talking about Alabama before their game against Georgia was, Alabama still is a good football team. However, Florida State's downfall was scheduling East Texas A&M and Kent State leading into the Virginia game. And I just don't think they caught up. Now, will they be able to speed themselves up even more going up against Miami? I lean no, that Miami defense is for real. And I don't think Tommy Castellanos can throw his way to a victory. He ends up finding a way to throw 2 70-yard touchdown passes a game. But in terms of actually leading drives, to be able to complete multiple passes, I don't believe in him, especially against this Miami front. And I know we're waiting for Mario Cristobal to drop the ball. I don't think it's coming this week. I think 2 weeks from now, when Louisville goes down to Miami, I think that's a spot where Miami could get got. Or hell, they could lose to literally anybody in the ACC, and we would not be surprised. But I think in this spot, Cristobal, in a big game, honestly, has a half-decent track record in his career. I think they get it done. I don't love the spread, but I still have to lean Miami to cover 4.5. It's dropped a couple points, so I'll take Miami in the 4.5 here.
Jay, we'll go to you next here. Miami, they are coming off a bye week. We haven't seen them since they played against Florida 2 weeks ago. Is that going to play a big advantage here? Or do you think Florida State can kind of balance that since they haven't played since last Friday?
No, I think I'm leaning Jay Walsh here. I just think for Florida State, you just got caught a bad time with Virginia. It's just a trap house type situation. And they just weren't ready. Like Matt said, you're scheduling cupcakes, and then you get right into ACC play on the road. That definitely caught up to them. I mean, this Miami team's really good. I'm going to lean Florida State here. I think with the game being at home, rivalry spot, it's kind of a bounce back spot for Florida State. I really like Castellanos. I mean, he can't throw, but they got a really good running attack, and their defense is much more improved than last year. So I think for that reason, I'd probably lean Florida State with the 4.5. I mean, Miami could easily win this, but it will be a close game, I think. I just think with the game being at home and just kind of a bounce back spot for them coming off that loss, I think Florida State's motivated against their rival. I would lean Florida State in this spot. And plus, I know what you're saying, Matt. Like Cristobal can like Cristobal can shit his pants in a game that we don't know, but like this has a Mario Cristobal meltdown written all over it, I feel like. So I lean Florida State.
Yeah, given it's a Florida State home game, I think I kind of want to lean Florida State here. I don't trust Thomas Castellanos. That's the thing. I know Carson Beck isn't that much better, but I kind of trust him more in a game like this than I do Castellanos. I mean, like Matt said, Cristobal has a somewhat decent track record in big games. It's not the greatest, but it's still good enough to get you by. I like Miami in this spot. Obviously, it's a road game. I think it's their first true road game. So that might play a factor in here too. But the Hurricanes, I mean, the number, I don't love it at 4.5, but if you're forcing me to take something here, give me that 4.5. And honestly, I'd take the over here because why not? Life's too short to bet the under. So, like I said, previews this week, not the greatest of matchups. So we are going to debut the garbage dump picks of the week. Matt, this was your brainchild. So we'll kind of let you explain what we're doing here, and then we can get into that.
I mean, this is pretty similar to our other picks, other than we get to discuss, pretty much just to avoid me or Jay Walsh, or honestly any of us, considering Nick likes to bet on UConn every other week, from just betting on absolutely terrible football games. But it also requires us now to put our money where our mouth is, and if we like a game that we have no business watching and requires a subscription to even be able to have somewhat of an idea of what is happening in said game, we should take more pride in getting these types of games right, because we are the gambling committee. We're supposed to know what the hell we're talking about. Anybody can tell you who's going to cover between Miami and Florida State, but who can deliver you winners? And that's what this is about, and that's what this is going to create. So, dumpster dive of the week. I already have an idea for a graphic, Nick. I can already get it ready for us, but all it requires is that it has to be a group of 5 versus group of 5 matchup or worse. So an FCS, if you find an FCS spread that you want, go ahead. But it cannot feature a Power 5 team with a giant asterisk, meaning we can all agree that a certain game can count. Like UCLA Northwestern last week could count as a dumpster dive. That was dog shit. Even though that still isn't what I'm really looking for, because there are some group of 5 games that aren't dumpster dives, but we'll get right into it. This is a forum for us to throw some things out. If we want to suggest some ideas, there's a couple dumpster dives. As I pointed out, this whole slate is kind of a dumpster dive. So, but there's some games I really love and I'm really intrigued by. So I can't wait to see what everybody else comes with. I can't wait to see what Jay looks at on the board and goes, yeah, that's something that sticks out and makes me want to go. I'm going to place a couple doubloons. I'm going to place some U.S. currency on this team. So I can start us off if you'd like. I'm just going to throw out some flyers. We'll see if anything sticks. One of these, actually, I'm going to save the one that's on my parlay. There is a game on my parlay that would constitute as a dumpster dive. But I told you guys, I think Saturday night, Saturday at like midnight that I was betting on this game this week. I can go back.
I thought the whole point of the dumpster dive game of the week is so that we didn't throw these types of games on our parlay.
It is, but you know what? It can. I'll take this game off the parlay because I'm at 7 picks for the week anyway. So, you know what? I'll abide by my own rules. App State -1.5 hosting Oregon State off the board, but right on the dumpster dive board because I love App State in this spot. They're actually favored by 1.5. They opened as an underdog against the Beavers, who are 0-5, traveling across the country to Boone, North Carolina. I love the Mountaineers in this spot. That there is no reason for Oregon State to be favored by anybody against anybody after what they pulled against Houston in the last Friday. Another game I really love. If there was a group of 5 top 25, this would be a Mike Merrifield rule in this situation. New Mexico. Everybody loves the Lobos, right? They're 3-1. They beat UCLA. They covered against Michigan. They got to go to San Jose State. The 1-3 Spartans who lost to Stanford. San Jose State's favored by 2.5 at home Friday night, 10 p.m. on FS1. I love the Spartans in this spot. The world is on New Mexico. I love the Spartans here. I know none of you guys are just staring at me like I'm just saying words, and that's completely fine. Love it. Love it. Love it. I love this slate so much. I need somebody else to throw out a dumpster dive pick. Let me see.
I'm not gonna lie. No, I was not. So I'm gonna leave you in suspense on whether that Oklahoma game is in my parlay. I'm gonna leave you guys in suspense until we announce our picks. But no, I did. I did look at that San Jose State New Mexico game because that one did intrigue me as well. However, I feel like if we're going with just pure we want garbage football, there's a clear answer here on this slate, and it happens to be the first game on the slate. You have 0-4 Sam Houston State traveling to play New Mexico State at 9 p.m. on a Thursday to open up this week's slate. This is going to be just absolute garbage football. I mean, you've got an 0-4 Sam Houston State team going up against a 2-2 New Mexico State team that's lost its last 2 games, just got beat pretty badly by in-state rival New Mexico. And the 0-4 team is favored on the road in this situation.
Jay Walsh,
what?
Do you know the last time Sam Houston State scored a point? Would you like to guess how long it's been?
I would. I'm very intrigued for you to tell me.
Well, there's 2 answers. Do you want the on continental U.S. or do you just want anywhere in the world where they've scored a point most recently? Because the last time they scored was on September 7th at Hawaii. The last time they scored in the United States, continental North America, was August 29th. Now, keep in mind, they've had 2 bye weeks. And they played Texas right in the middle. But I'm just saying, it's been a long time coming since this team scored a touchdown.
Thank you for kind of teeing me up because my pick is New Mexico State here.
I don't
love New Mexico State, but
I called you a $3. You should feel like a $3 hooker a couple weeks ago. This Sam Houston State offense needs a $3 hooker right now. So, you know what? All more power to you. God bless.
Yes, I felt like it would be irresponsible to leave this game off of this segment, considering we are looking for just the worst games of football. This is going to be a horrible game of football, and I'm taking New Mexico State +2. Yes, I actually do, and it's part of the reason that you said is the Sam Houston State team could be really, really, really horrible, and they are somehow an 0-4 team traveling on the road and are favored. I don't understand that. I'm sure Vegas probably has its reasons, but I feel like I have to take New Mexico State here. So I'm rolling with New Mexico State.
I mean, I guess I'll go. I'm surprised this game hasn't been picked yet. 2:30 Eastern Time, Western Michigan at UMass. This is the Jay Walsh special, fading UMass. Yeah, 0-4 UMass. They are absolutely awful. And Western is also pretty. I mean, we all watched against Michigan State how bad their offense is. I mean, their only good, decent game was losing by 3 to North Texas. But I like to lay the 13.5 with Western because UMass is absolute, like, just ass, as we talked about last week. So that's my only garbage dump pick I have that's really just stands out. So yeah, give me the Broncos. That, oh my God. I mean, that's an ESPN Plus classic right there. So give me the Broncos.
I guess that just leaves me, and I'm going Friday night, 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, one of the most inaccessible sports networks out there. It is 4-1 Western Kentucky, traveling to, I think, Newark. Newark is in New Jersey. I don't know, wherever Delaware is.
Fighting Joe Biden's.
Sure, yes. Why Delaware is a 2.5-point favorite here, I don't know. I get they beat UConn, ruined Matt's dreams because Matt picked UConn in that game. Give me Western Kentucky just the straight up money line. Why not? I really have no reasoning behind it. They're 4-1. They kind of looked halfway decent this year. Delaware, I think, is 3-1. That doesn't matter though, because I'm not picking them. So give me the Hilltoppers because why not?
I would like to throw out there that Newark, Delaware is where Delaware University is.
Okay, so I was right. Thank you.
And then I would also like to just throw out Mike Merrifield's dumpster dive of the week because he felt so inclined to share with me. He likes he must be a Timothy Chalamet fan because he likes Parker Navarro and the Ohio Bobcats going to Ball State, which I believe is a rivalry game, if I'm not mistaken. I can confirm that information right now. But he likes Ohio on the road to cover 14.5 against the Ball State Cardinals. So I don't follow. I mean, I know Ohio's still pretty good this year, but let's see, their rivals are no, they're not a rivalry game. So there's no buzz for Ball State, who sucks. So I don't know. I thought I'd throw that out there just so we can each get out there that itch. Because I know every single week one of us at least has some terrible football game that we want to slide into our slot. And you know what? This is just a way for all of us to share our thoughts and feelings about some of the sicko football that will occur each and every week. And we'll keep track. We'll see who's actually good at this stuff, who actually knows ball.
Okay, can we make an exception for can there be in a couple weeks Michigan State homecoming where we got UCLA? That game, oh my God, I can't believe I'm coming up for that game. I can't believe it.
Hopefully our team's not like completely in the shitter. And that's next week, Jay. It's literally next weekend.
Next week, yeah. That game's gonna be so bad. Oh my God.
Well, I don't think it can be a dumpster dive considering our football team will still be about 500.
It's true.
So, Matt, do have a question because me and Jay Walsh did talk about it pre-show. Yeah. Does UL Monroe on the lakefront against Northwestern?
Yes, that is a dumpster dive. That is a good question.
I wanted to include that, but the fact that Northwestern is favored by 10.5 in that game is just I feel dirty about that pick. I just don't like it at all. Because UL Monroe is also 3-1.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I like Texas State at Butch Jones in Arkansas State. Texas State laying 13.5. Texas State's really good. Like, they're a pretty good football team. They might win the Sun Belt. And then out west in the Mountain West Saturday night, Wyoming getting 3.5, 3 in the hook against the Dan Mullen UNLV Rebels. Wyoming at home. Laramie, Wyoming gets dangerous at night. It's like a 5 o'clock kickoff time. I don't know what time zone Wyoming's in. It doesn't really matter. But Utah had a little bit of trouble there. It's just wary. We can get to our picks.
Texas Tech had trouble there too, right?
They might have. Let me look.
Yeah, it was like a few years ago. Anyways.
Oh,
We don't need to ramble about Wyoming.
If we're just throwing games out there, I also do just want to point out James Madison traveling to Georgia State and being favored by 19.5 this week.
It's a great pick.
With my previous allegiances, I feel like I have to side with the Dukes here, but I feel like I had to throw that one out there. Anytime you see conference opponents being favored by 20 points on the road, I feel like that's a very worthy inclusion in the dumpster dive picks of the week.
Betting against Hugh Jackson's always a great call. So,
before we actually get to the picks, can I interest anybody in UConn -7.5 against FIU?
No.
Absolutely not.
Isn't that game at Pitbull Field?
No, this is it's at the Rent in East Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, it's not at Mr. Worldwide Stadium.
Doesn't UConn doesn't even play in stores for football?
No, they play in Hartford. They don't have an on-campus stadium. They haven't had one since 2002. It got demolished to build a basketball practice facility.
Speaking of Big East, how about the Big East losing out on a 4-star power forward to Tom Izzo? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Matt,
He's
he was
back.
being recruited by Seton Hall. Of course he's going to pick Michigan State because
And
Seton Hall has
Xavier.
no NIL.
And Xavier.
Anyway.
Yeah, we should probably just get into our picks at this point. We've kind of gone off the
We
rails
could have
here.
done buy or sell. We could have literally done anything else but dumpster dive.
I like
This was
dumpster
my
dive.
idea.
I think this is going to be a good segment moving forward.
We'll do buy or sell next week.
Jada Coster, you're going first. Just take us straight into the picks.
I wonder how many of Matt's picks I have this week. We're gonna find out.
I have 4 locks already, just in case any of you guys steal any of them.
Wonderful. We're gonna start off. This is the Mike Merrifield special. Cincinnati, Iowa State. Why is Cincinnati favored in the spot? I have no idea. That's why you take Cincinnati -1.5. You run with it. You take Cincinnati -1.5 at home. No idea why they're favored, but we're going to take them. Ohio State, Minnesota at the shoe at night. I like Ohio State -23.5. That's also going to be my lock. This is just a spot where Ohio State just can obliterate a pretty mediocre to bad team. Well, Minnesota's not bad, but they're just in a spot where they can just demolish them by 30. So I like Ohio State in this spot. I also like Florida State +4.5. I just think it's just like we talked about earlier. It's just a spot where Cristobal can something bad could happen, and Florida State's due for a bounce back here. So I like the 4.5. Don't know about a win, but I do like the 4.5 here. TCU in Colorado at Fort Worth. I do like TCU -13.5 in this spot. I like this TCU team a lot. I like Josh Hoover, their quarterback. I think he can be like a first or second round draft pick in the near future here, but I like TCU -13.5, and Colorado is not good. They are really bad. So their QB situation is a mess. So give me TCU -13.5. We're going to end late night algorithm +3 against Duke. Duke is traveling. That travels. It's crazy. You're going from you're going from Durham to way out west in Cal. So I like Cal +3 plus JKS. I'm not going to pronounce his name, but he is really good. He put up a really good performance at Boston College. So give me Cal +3, and those are my 5 picks.
Jay Walsh, do you want us to leave you in limbo for another round with Oklahoma, or do you just want to go?
I'll let you guys decide. Would you like to know?
I already know they're in your parlay.
You don't know that. They could very well not be in the parlay.
Jay Walsh is the world's worst poker player.
Jay Walsh,
Go ahead.
you're making your picks.
Well, let's get into this. So as I said pre-show, I have exactly one pick that kicks off after noon on Saturday. So we're gonna know real quick how my picks are going. We're gonna start off on Friday night. Actually, I'm going with San Diego State -5.5 at home against Colorado State. This is what?
Flag.
Time out.
I'm gonna get a flag. I'm gonna order a flag off Amazon, and I'm also gonna get a red card. Flag. Technical foul. I don't know. Just let the man make his picks.
We just did a whole segment.
Screw you guys. I'm going San Diego State.
You also
Moving on.
You know what? Go ahead. It's fine.
Right.
Moving on.
And he was the one who gave me shit about App State being on my picks.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Whatever.
Anyways.
Next pick. I'm going with Baylor -6.5 against Kansas State. They are also at home here. This is a Kansas State team that really, they're not very good. And although I don't think Baylor is anything special either, I think they're better than Kansas State. And the fact that this is a home game at Baylor, I like Baylor in the spot. I'm going with Georgia -20.5 against Kentucky at home. This is, again, kind of similar to the Miami-Florida State pick. This is kind of a classic bounce back spot from Georgia where they just kind of beat the shit out of whoever they play next after they lost to Alabama last week. This Kentucky team, I don't think is really any good at all. And they're going into Athens, playing between the hedges. I love Georgia in the spot. And then my fourth pick, I am going with Navy -11.5 at home against Air Force this week. This is a solid Navy team as they were last year. Air Force, I really don't think is that good. Plus, they're having to travel across the country to play this game. I like Navy in this spot. And my last pick, and it is my lock of the week, is not Oklahoma. I did not have them on the parlay, so eat shit, Matt. My final pick. My final pick is Louisville -6.5 at home against Virginia. This is, I believe this is a Mike Merrifield rule because, yes, Virginia is ranked after beating Florida State last week. I like this spot a lot. This is probably, I made it my lock of the week, so obviously I love it. This is my favorite pick of the week. I think Louisville is a solid team. I think Virginia is going to be riding that high off of beating Florida State. They have to travel to Louisville. I don't think they're going to get the job done. I love Louisville -6.5 in the spot. So those are my 5 picks.
All right, Matt, I'll let you go. And
all right. Well, I guess we'll start off on Friday night. And I like the BYU Cougars. Late at night was like the 10 o'clock, 10:30 kick on ESPN, hosting Rich Rod in West Virginia. Cougars favored by 19.5. West Virginia lost a quarterback. He's transferring at the end of the year and he's taking his medical red shirt. So West Virginia doesn't have a quarterback, and they've been kicked in the nuts twice the last 2 weeks since beating Pitt. They then lost to they got their legs blown off by Kansas a couple weeks ago. And then this last week, Utah walked into Morgantown and dropped a nuke following their loss to Texas Tech. West Virginia's got no reason to get up for this game. Short week, flying across the country, the elevation change. BYU, while I don't love them, I don't love Bear Bachmeier, they're the better team. They'll take care of business. They've won some big games already early in the year. They didn't play great against Colorado last week, but I feel confident in them to cover 19.5 at home on Friday night. Moving into Saturday, big noon kickoff. Gus Johnson on hand for the most exhilarating Big Ten game of the year. Give me Michigan -16.5 against the Wisconsin Badgers. I don't even love Michigan. I don't like their run game is super boomer bust, but it doesn't matter. Wisconsin's terrible. And we're just waiting for the day Luke Fickell gets fired, even though Barry Alvarez claims that his fan base is spoiled. Well, Wisconsin's not scoring a point. And I feel very confident Michigan can get to 20 with their eyes closed. So, yeah, give me the Wolverines -16.5 at home on Big Noon Kick. My next pick, give me Louisville I got it at 5.5. I know it's gone up. I think it's above 7. I'd still take it. In my opinion, Louisville is the second best team in the ACC. They're the only team they're not better than is Miami. I think they could beat Florida State on a neutral field. Miller Moss is for real. Jeff Brom's done a great job the last couple of years. I think they're going to be an ACC title game. And why is Virginia favored or ranked? I should say. There's no reason. It was a good win. We all knew it was a trap house on Friday night. Give me Louisville. They're a good football team. They'll be ranked after this week, rightfully so. Moving to the night slate, give me, actually we'll start with this Big 12 game. Jay already took it. TCU minus 13.5 against Coach Prime. Coach Prime stinks. Sonny Dykes is a miles ahead better head coach. Quarterback, give me Josh Hoover. And TCU lost a game that they probably should have won last week. Short week going out to Arizona State. And I can't stand Arizona State. That team is just a giant adrenaline rush. And when things start going their way, everything goes their way. Because the first 2.5 quarters of that game, TCU was in control and should have really won that game. They're going to want to bounce back at home at night against a bad Colorado team. They can cover 2 touchdowns easily. Staying in the Big 12, give me Houston plus 12.5 against Texas Tech. Texas Tech coming off that big win. I know they had the bye week this last week, coming off that big win out in Utah. Houston sneaky solid. Connor Wegman's having a bounce back here in his new home down in Houston. Willie Fritz, great football coach. Great football coach. Roll wave forever. I really like Houston the spot. They don't need to win, but at night, hosting Texas Tech could be a little bit of a sleepy spot for Texas Tech coming in. All they got to do is cover 2 touchdowns. I believe in Willie Fritz. I believe in the Cougars. They didn't play great last week because they were looking ahead to this week against Oregon State, but they found a way to win. To what good coach teams do. They'll do it again. They'll cover this week at home. Could be an upset spot, but they don't need to do it. They'll just cover the 12.5. Finally, the Calgorithm, as Jay said, plus 3. I wish I was going to be at a Chicago bar with Jay again to watch Cal play at 10:30 against a not great Power 5 team. We did it against Minnesota, same spot. And while I like Duke, it's been an up and down last couple weeks. I don't trust him to go across the country against the Cal team that went out to the ACC and beat BC last weekend outright. I was not expecting that. I almost took BC last weekend. Now, is BC good? No, they're not good. And that Michigan State win looks worse and worse by the day. But give me Cal to cover the plus 3. And since Jay Walsh took the 5.5 as his lock of the week, I'm going to take Michigan minus 16.5 as my lock of the week. I think that's the first time I've ever had Michigan as a lock of the week. And even though I hate Michigan, but Wisconsin's so bad. I'm still pissed I didn't take Maryland 2 weeks ago. Give me Michigan this spot. Wisconsin's unbettable. Give me Michigan to cover the 16.5 as my lock of the week. I love my 6 picks. Shout out App State plus 1.5 or even minus 1.5. Doesn't matter as Oregon State comes across the country. That's also a great pick, but it's not in my parlay anymore. So there we go. Nick, I can't wait to hear what you got.
All right, let's get straight into it. I believe this is a noon kickoff. Feels like I'm walking into a trap here. Give me Illinois minus 8.5 at Purdue. Purdue is bad. Illinois is decent. I don't know why this is only at 8.5. So give me the Fighting Illini at that number. Another one. This one, I'm walking into a trap. I am buying the hype. Give me Alabama minus 10.5 against Vanderbilt. They have unfinished business against Diego Pavia from last year. Again, this is clear as day trap, yet I'm walking in and saying, I'm taking this. Give me Alabama. Roll Tide roll. And if they lose, Legend is going to have an aneurysm on the Feinbaum show on Monday. Future Senator Paul Feinbaum, who knows? We got to enjoy it while we have it. Next up, I took this number at 13.5. It is ballooned to 20.5. Give me Boise State plus 20.5 at Notre Dame. Because why not? Notre Dame always feels like they have a letdown game at the beginning of October. This feels like the perfect spot. Boise State, I mean, they're not as good as they were last year. I think they'll still be fine enough. 20.5 made me love this even more. Give me the Broncos here. We'll go to West Coast and then we'll go to my lock. Calgorithm. Give me Cal plus 3.5 versus Duke. East Coast, West Coast, all that kind of fun things. Give me the Golden Bears, even though they almost lost to BC last week. That's neither here nor there. Now let's get to the lock of the week. I am 1-4 on locks. I put in a request on Sunday to have a special guest join us for this lock of the week. I checked today to make sure that this was going to happen. I was told no, because they had Temple tonight. Matt, that should very much give away who this was. I came across a stat that when you come across stats, you just have to use them. Last year, it was UConn against Buffalo. Buffalo hadn't played on grass in 5 years. This year, obviously, everybody knows I don't know if everybody knows. On Friday, Taylor Swift dropping a new album. I have been given the stat that Colorado is 0-10 following times Taylor Swift drops an album, and they lose games on average by 22 points. Give me TCU minus 13.5, because why not? I should also state Purdue is 0-9 with the same stat, because that was also added in there. So that's why Illinois is in there, but give me TCU against Colorado. What a time to be alive. Yeah.
Incredible. I would like to point out App State plays on Saturday. Luke Combs is releasing 3 songs on Friday night, and he's the only relevant person to come out of App State, as far as I know. So Nick doesn't even know who Nick. Actually, I shouldn't say he doesn't know who that is. He now knows who Luke Combs is because he wore a Tottenham jersey this week.
This is true. I cannot deny he was at the game on Saturday against Wolverhampton. I sent the text to Matt. I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? And Matt said, you don't know who this is, ? And I'm like, no, of course not. Why would I? So
just to recap, you didn't know Kendrick Lamar for the Super Bowl last year, and you did not know Luke Combs. What music do you listen to?
Grateful Dead.
Beautiful. He saw Grateful Dead the Sphere.
Well, no, I saw Dead and Company. Grateful Dead has been a thing since
Whatever.
1995.
Nick also was unfamiliar with Bad Bunny.
This is also true.
Does that mean we're going to have a similar moment to last year for the Super Bowl halftime show when we're betting on what songs will go first and Nick just randomly picks one out of a hat and gets it right?
He's just going to go to Google Translate and start typing stuff out to get Spanish words.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what Steve DeCoster's reaction was to Bad Bunny being announced as the halftime act. I'm sure it was similar to Mike Merrifield's.
He said, "Who's that?" And I don't know. I had to explain him. But what was Mike's reaction?
I had to first say, "Do you remember the caddy from Happy Gilmore 2?" And he goes, "Yes, why?" I go, "That's who's performing."
Yeah, it took him a little bit.
Yeah. So, anyways.
All right. So I thought before we get out of here, very other important thing on Friday is the college hockey season.
Oh boy.
Puck drop. I know Jay and Jay Walsh are not going to carry this conversation. So all I'm going to ask both of you, just pick a school who is going to be lifting the national title trophy in Las Vegas come April. So Jay, I'll go to you first.
Oh, pick one that isn't Michigan State.
Yes.
I gotta go Boston College, probably. I mean, or Boston University, one of those Boston schools. All right, we'll go Boston College.
Okay.
All right, Jay Walsh.
Well, the reason for my reaction there on the second part of Jay's answer is because I was going to say Boston University, simply because, I mean, I have as I said when we talked about college hockey last year, I have a very close coworker his son used to play for BU, and he is very involved in BU hockey, and I don't think he'd ever forgive me if I didn't say a good thing about Boston University. So I'm going to roll with the Terriers, even though I have absolutely no idea.
Sounds good enough. Matt, obviously a little bit more in-depth conversation here, but
part of the reason why I told them not to take Michigan State, first off, because I needed them to give an answer and prove that they knew a hockey, literally any hockey team other than Michigan State. But either way, partly because I'm going to say Michigan State, partly because if they don't make a Frozen Four this year, a real conversation needs to be had, in my opinion, about the postseason coaching job of Adam Nightingale in the NCAA tournament. Not that he's at any risk of losing his job, but this team is way too good not to make a Frozen Four, and honestly, way too good not to make a national championship. I know a lot of teams are more talented this year because of the CHL allowing players to come play college hockey. The most talented player, allegedly, is going to be on NHL Network on Friday night. But Michigan State's way too good top to bottom. They have like 15 draft picks. I know a lot of teams in the last couple of years, BC being one of them, has had stacked first-round picks, but like to have a fourth line full of guys who weren't just draft picks, but pretty high draft picks as well, third, fourth-round draft picks, having Trey Augustine, oh, by the way, your backup's a fifth-round pick from Columbus, and Melvin Straw. This team is way, way too good. And then you still add in the top-end talent of Charlie Stramel, who's a former first-round pick, Caden Lidstrom coming in. Hopefully he's healthy. The combination of returning guys. I know losing Isaac Howard sucks. Porter Martone coming in from the CHL from Brampton. Give me, or Mississauga. I don't even know. Is it Mississauga or is it Brampton? It's Brampton now, right?
Yes, it's Brampton.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm getting it right. Don't want to offend any people. They get upset about it. So, give me Michigan State. They got to do it this year. There's some other talented teams, but I think the combination of talent and the way Michigan State's style of play is, I think the Big Ten finally gets over the top. They have no excuse this year. Absolutely none.
Matt, I'm going to ask you, do you think the Fighting Hawks are flying under the radar this year?
Yes, 100%.
I think they are a very legit national championship contender. North Dakota reclaiming whatever they used to have. I mean, it's been, I want to say, over 10 years now since their last national title, somewhere around there. But NCHC schools always seem to do good come tournament time. North Dakota, if they can stay healthy, feels like that kind of team. Obviously, I think Big Ten probably ends up with two teams in Vegas. Who they are, it really could be most of the league, honestly. But I think this might be North Dakota's year.
I can see that as an under the radar pick. That probably is the best under the radar pick. In the Big Ten, I'm honestly really interested to see how Penn State handles this whole situation with Gavin McKenna, because like just throwing him on the ice, it's not like Gavin McKenna at Michigan would work, because watching Gavin McKenna do his thing is how Michigan plays hockey. It's what they've done for the last 10 years, or the last 4 years under Norado, which is give the puck to the best player, have him play 25 minutes a night and get the hell out of the way. Penn State's the exact opposite. So I'm cautious about the Nittany Lions and their actual success this season. Minnesota is going to be really good again. They're a team I think that could make it to Vegas. Michigan, I think, is really going to benefit from the CHL. If Ivankovic can play at a high enough level, I think they're going to be tough to beat. They still don't play any defense, so. And I can't stand Michigan hockey. As much as I hate Michigan football, Michigan hockey is in a whole other realm. So it's going to take me a lot to relinquish the fact that they might be good. And the rest of the Big Ten, the bottom half of the Big Ten, like Ohio State, I don't think will be as good as last year. Penn State, Notre Dame is going to be a work in progress with Mark Jackson gone. And Wisconsin will be right in the middle. But Michigan State, Minnesota are going to be really good. And Penn State will probably still be really good, but I'm cautious about them. But we'll see. North Dakota, great pick. Shout out the NCHC. Go Broncos, too.
Yeah.
But they won't win it all.
No. Even though they are the consensus number one team, I don't think they go back-to-back. Also, potential, I don't think dark horse for a national championship, but Frozen Four, I think Arizona State. I think they got a shot this year. This may be the best team they've had. But that's enough college hockey talk. Let's just wrap up this show. Anybody else got anything to say before we close it out here? All right. That is good enough for me. So Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show. We will, of course, be back next week, as we always are. So make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe. Tell everybody you know about it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon for another episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show.